Jill Spineti, and I'm the president and CEO of the Governor's Prevention Partnership. For just about all of my career, over 25 years, I've been involved in the field of prevention. And one thing has been clear for many, many years is that when we invest our time, our resources, our efforts into prevention efforts to serve our children in urban areas and throughout the state, we have to be sure that we're getting results. It's critical to know that every dollar we invest in their lives, in every way that we support them, that we know it's making a difference, that it's effective. We don't want to harm our children further. So I have good news today about mentoring, youth mentoring. We know that youth mentoring in the state of Connecticut works. We've measured it, we've evaluated it. We've had fabulous results with our mentoring program. Kids with mentors do better in school. They attend school at higher rates. They do better at home with their families, and they resist drugs and alcohol at higher levels. But the best thing of all is they have a higher aspiration for their future. They feel much better about themselves. So today, in addition to the results we've gotten through mentoring, we want to announce the results of the Connecticut Mentoring Fund. The Governor's Prevention Partnership has been working since 1989 with 150 mentoring programs across the state. And the one thing we hear over and over again is that they need more resources. They're doing a lot with very little. Many of them have 2 full-time staff to support a whole project. 27% of programs indicate that they don't have adequate funding. Nearly 1/3 of the programs operate on a budget of under $5,000. So 2 years ago, we got the idea to create the Connecticut Mentoring Fund. We put together, we architected it, and we started to shop it around, and we got some initial funders. The first person that stood up was Representative Pat Dillon, and her co-chair for the health committee of the Appropriations Committee, Senator Terry Gerentana. She believed in the program. She thought it was a great idea. So she was able to move other support in the General Assembly, and we got our first appropriation in 2014. That was matched by a private investment from First Niagara Bank, and in just a minute you'll also hear from Ken Walker. So last year we rolled out the fund. We had $71,000, not a lot of money for the results that we got, and we were able to fund 10 programs. I just want to tell you the results that we were able to get with that small amount of money. We funded 10 programs in Bridgeport, Hartford, New Britain, New Haven, Norwalk, Plainville, Westport, and Stamford. We were able to serve an additional 374 youth with this funding, impacting over 2,000 youth statewide. We got 100 new mentors in place, which is pretty phenomenal. And over the next months, we know that we have plans to get an additional 85 mentors, and 685 mentors have received enhanced training. The whole goal of this is to really support mentoring programs, help them to achieve better outcomes, better quality standards. So in just a moment, you will hear from some of the people doing the work, the program coordinators. But first, I want to turn it over to Representative Pat Dillon, who really did the lion's share of the work in getting the fund up and running. So thank you, Representative Dillon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the providers who work with youth all over the state. And I really want to thank my co-chair, because there's really no room in this building right now for stars. Every one of us matters, and we all need each other. We need each other in the communities. We need each other in the legislature. I've always been excited about the Prevention Partnership, because when Governor O'Neill established it, he was responding to concern in the business community that they wanted to play a positive role, but they needed a way to make it work. They didn't want to do individual decisions company by company. And so that it's always been a very positive force, and I'm really proud that I was able to go over the years to many of their functions. My own concern, and I've shared this with some of you, is my little district on the west side of New Haven is 2 zip codes. I represent 2 zip codes. In one of those zip codes, if you make a mistake, you embarrass your family, you hurt them, you set yourself back, you work it out. It's a terrible thing, but you manage it. In the other zip code, if you make a mistake, it can spiral you into a series of events that you can't climb out of. That's not right. We shouldn't administer justice or fairness by zip code. We need everyone's talent at the table. We need to provide hope. And mentoring and prevention is an act of hope. But what we are trying to do, at least me today, is also to talk about trust. Young people need to trust us. Just changing sentencing laws is very important, but it doesn't rebuild trust from young people exposed to so many pressures. Many people in this building criticize the business community. That's fair. That's democracy. But if we don't maintain trust with the business leaders who are willing to work with us, then we're not serious. They can't trust us. We need to maintain a partnership. Every single thing that we do this year is going to be tough. We have a revenue problem, and past performance is no prediction of what's going to happen in the future. So I want to thank every one of you here who does the hard work and the loving work of working with young people all over this state so that it doesn't matter what zip code you grew up in. But you need to let your legislators know how important this is to the youth of our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Dillon. Really appreciate your remarks. We are very fortunate to be blessed to be joined today by several representatives and senators. We have Representative Lopes and Morin, Adams and Rosario and Luxembourg in the room, and I hope I didn't miss it. And Terziak. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate your being here. We're also joined by Senator Gary Winfield and Senator Gomes. And Senator Winfield or Gomes, would either one of you like to say a few words about mentoring in your community?
Good afternoon. So it's interesting. I was at not any program here, but I was at a program yesterday where mentoring is a huge part of what they do. And as I'm listening to Pat Dillon, who, by the way, if you don't know, is fabulous. A lot of the good stuff that we do in this building, Pat Dillon has been instrumental part of doing. As I was listening to her talk about hope, I was reflecting upon the conversation that I was having with the young people there. And I think, oftentimes we focus on hope and we stop there. And I think Pat talked about trust, but the other part of that is belief. That's what these young people have. Because the people who do what you all do, the providers, are not just there during school time. You're not just there during whatever the prescribed program time is, but you're there for these young people in ways that other people aren't. So I see Pastor Todd here, and I know that he has Gang of Dads, and I know that there are young people whose lives are infinitely better for the work that he does and the work that you all do. So if the question is the stuff that we talk about here, about how important children are, I think that for all of us, we need to put our money, and I know we don't have a lot of it, but we need to put our money where our mouth is and make sure that this works and continues to work. So again, thank you for what you do, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about it. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for being here. And mentoring is always also a subject that goes through our neighborhoods that are much needed. We have about 65, I understand about 65 people in my district alone that they're being mentored, and we have one, particularly her name is Brianna, and because she has been mentored, she has sort of blossomed and been out, and we have in Bridgeport alone, out of the 180,000 people who need a mentoring in Connecticut, we have 7,000 in Bridgeport alone that need somebody to mentor them, and we're looking forward to this program working, and I want to tell you, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
And we're also fortunate to be joined by Representative Arconti, so thank you for coming. So I mentioned at the very beginning of my remarks that it's critical to get outcomes, and that couldn't be more true, and that's what this is all about, to make sure we're serving the kids the right way. But there's another value that we have at the Governor's Prevention Partnership I think that's equally as important, and that's around partnership and collaboration. In the field of mentoring, we work together. We don't compete with each other. We have built a cadre of leaders in this state who are second to none. A couple of our staff people right now are down in Washington, D.C. at the National Mentoring Summit. We make sure we stay on the pulse of mentoring no matter what is happening at the national level, through research, at the state level. We want to make sure that our mentoring programs here are quality driven. And I could not be more proud or honored to be standing with a group of providers today who are so important to this work. And I see that we are now joined by Senator Looney, and would you like to say a few words? We're talking about mentoring.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. I'd be glad to have you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation to be here to celebrate the Connecticut Mentoring Fund, because as we all know, there are so many ways in which young people in need of assistance need guidance from responsible adults and role models and others. Under this program, recently the New Haven Boys and Girls Club applied to the Connecticut Mentoring Fund and got a competitive award that has been quite helpful in their operation. So this is something that has had a great benefit all over the state, and I think it is one of the many layers of social services that we need to continue to find ways to support and to nurture. Thanks very much.